Hello and welcome everyone. Please share the meeting link with your friends too. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. This would be an interesting lecture. Today we'll cover how you can actually deploy a contract on a blockchain. So this is going to be big for each and every one of you. Uh, Please call your friends as early as possible. Thank you. Hello everyone. Welcome to this lecture. Uh, as I've already told you guys, this is going to be a special lecture where we'll go through how to deploy a contract on blockchain. Now that is going to be a good one. I believe I've already had a lecture with you guys before where we covered basics of blockchain. Just to know how many people have actually seen that, could we have a quick yes and a no in this chat box if you're familiar with the basics of blockchain? Yes, if you know some basics about blockchain, and no if you are not familiar with it yet. Can we have a quick yes and a no, please? Okay. No. No and yes, both of those answers are appreciated. Okay. Okay. All right. So there are some no's and some yes. Okay. No's are a lot. Okay. So for no's, I'll recommend either go to the previous lecture that we've had here, or what I'll do is I'll try to incorporate some basics along with this lecture itself, right? Now, so if there are some people that are interested to follow along with me in this lecture, please feel free to do that. I'll try to keep a very slower pace here. So this is actually a practical example of how you can build a contract and deploy it on a blockchain. Right? We'll use Celo blockchain to deploy on Celo as we move forward. Now, Celo is an EVM compatible blockchain. EVM, what exactly EVM is Ethereum virtual machine, or virtual machine for that matter. Uh, Virtual machine helps in computing the contracts that are stored on the blockchain, right? So we'll come to some of the basics of blockchain as we are exploring through, right? One thing that you need to know is that blockchain stores data, and as well as it takes a fees while storing a data, right? That data could be code as well. And some blockchains like Celo, like Ethereum, they have power to compute that code for you. So if some of you guys are familiar with some SQL queries or some database related examples, so you might know how to manipulate that data, right? So if somebody has gone through PLSQL, so they might know how to program the data, or PHP for that matter, right? Where you use a server side language to program the data, or to fetch the data, manipulate it according to your needs, and then send it to you, right? So this is something that blockchain does for you, right? And at the same time, the scope of blockchain is huge, right? So there are a lot of openings that you'll see all around you open for blockchain. Do you guys know that the need of a blockchain developer, or a smart contract developer, is arising day by day? I think a lot of you might already be in a job search phase, and the knowledge of how to deploy a contract will actually help you. So feel free to ask me any question that you like. If you feel that my pace is faster, please ask me to slow down a bit. You can interact with me through the chat box during the lecture. I personally favor if you guys ask your question on the chat box itself, right? So, Tanya, is there a question? You have raised your hand. You can feel free to raise your hand as well. If I see your hands raised up, I'll try and ask if there is any question. If there's if Even if I miss it, please do type it in the chat box. Okay, it's a no. That is fine. You can definitely type your questions in the chat box so that I can come back to them later. And so let's get started. Let me share my screen. All right. I hope everybody can see my screen. So the first thing that we need before getting into development of smart contracts, can I have a quick yes and a no to know how many of you actually know Java or any programming language for that matter? Have you worked in any programming language? A quick yes and a no, please. A little bit of work. Great. Okay. Okay. Java. Yes. 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 Okay. All right. A no, a little bit is fine. That is also good. We do not need proficiency in any language. We just need that you know some basic concepts of it. Rahul, any questions? Okay. So that is good. That is good. That is good news. So what we'll do is we'll install MetaMask first. So now what exactly is MetaMask? MetaMask is a browser wallet. It will hold the crypto for you. So you can hold Ethereum here, you can hold Celo here in your MetaMask addresses. The address, it comprises of three parts: private key, public key, wallet address, right? It can vary from chain to chain. Sure. Your private key, wallet address, and public keys are actually derived from uh, from a seed phrase that will generate right now using MetaMask, right? So first of all, what we need to do is we need to install it. We will go to metamask.io and we'll download it for Chrome. Please make sure that you download it from metamask.io. It's very important because wallets is where you'll store your where you'll store your coins, and you do not want your wallet to be in hands of somebody that can take the amount from there. So please make sure that you download it from metamask.io. Security is very important when you are exploring crypto wallets. So you can simply add it to Chrome, and let me add the extension to Chrome. Please feel free to do this along with me so that you guys have a basic understanding of what you need to go through. So it's now installing. Okay, let's try and restart it. Okay. So this is a very important address here. So MetaMask will never collect your keys, addresses, transactions, balances, or hashes. So it doesn't collect any information. So it's safe to say that it is quite safe to use MetaMask, and you can connect a lot of chains along with MetaMask as well. So when you are building things on wallet or maybe on any EVM compatible chain, MetaMask is your go-to place for it, right? It will never sell your data for profit, and it will always allow you to opt out via settings. All of these things are really good. I'll definitely ask each and every one of you to make sure that you go through them. Now, if you have an already existing wallet, you can import it here, or you can create a wallet as well. So to create a wallet, it will ask me for a password. This password is not associated with any blockchain related thing. So please feel free to write anything that you can remember here. Please do not forget it, or else you won't be able to unlock your MetaMask and your funds might be lost. So even if it is not related to security, it is related to your funds. Even if you'll ever store funds here with this MetaMask that you've created. This is a very good video that will if you want to watch it, you can definitely save the links to watch it later. And this is a video which will tell you about MetaMask and how to use it securely. The best thing that you can do is never share your mnemonic keys with anyone. So now what exactly is a mnemonic key or a seed phrase that we covered, which derives private keys, wallet keys, and your public keys. So this is the mnemonic phrase, a secret recovery phrase. This right now is of 12 digits. So you can basically, what you need to do is you need to copy paste it somewhere safe where no one can actually access it, or write it on a piece of paper, save it, or maybe write it on multiple piece of paper, save it at different locations, so that you never lose your secret recovery phrase. If you lose it, you won't be able to recover your account and the funds in it. So this is important. uh, Whenever you are dealing with wallets, please make sure that you follow the instructions properly, as well as you keep a very tight security on your keys. So I'll copy this here. I'll just paste it here. Right now, I'll be using this as a test wallet only. So I won't be using it for a production purposes at all. Uh, I'll suggest each and every one of you, please do not use this account, because this will be a public account. Never to use this account, in fact, right? Please create your own. And now we have to confirm the secret recovery phrase in the order that we have selected. Okay. So average. It should be in the uh, order that you have copied. Average, hill, prosper, nice, capable, handsome, like, and definitely not paste it on Google, guys. This is just for safekeeping, so that I do not lose it right now, because I'm teaching you guys. Never paste it on Google. The tips on storing it safely, please go through it. If you are following along, please go through it. And I've already shared a lot with you guys, and I'll connect here. And this is the MetaMask address, and this is the account address that is given to me right now, right? So now what we can do is we can play around a bit with MetaMask here. So you can see this right now is connected to Ethereum mainnet. MetaMask was originally made for Ethereum, but at the same time you can add custom networks to it. So eventually, when a lot of chains, they started forking Ethereum and creating their own mainnets. So this is where MetaMask extended its support to make sure that all the EVM compatible chains are supported by MetaMask. So you can go to simply show and hide test network. You can switch it on, and you'll see that all the test networks are also visible now. These are some of the Ethereum test network. You can add custom network to it as well. Not just that, if you want, all right, you can actually create more accounts using the same key phrase that we have. So now this is something that we can use here. We basically can create an account too, and you'll see that it does not give us any mnemonic key or something, because this account too is linked to our seed phrase that we had previously. From the same seed phrase, infinite number of wallets could be generated, right? So this is something that you should keep in mind. And if you're wondering how to check the private key of this account that is created, you can simply go to, okay, so there is, I think, you can see all these settings here. You can go ahead, explore it a bit, right? So you can also reveal your secret recovery phrase from here. Okay, so go back right now. Okay. So this whole will actually set up your MetaMask, right? You can simply close it, and in most of the browsers you will see Metamask popping up like this, right? Am I getting through to everybody? Can we have a quick yes and a no if I'm getting through to everybody? Till this point, is everything clear? Installing a wallet. Now we move to coding part. Okay. All right, guys. Great. So let's move to the coding part. Let me open Remix IDE. You can simply go to remix.ethereum.org here. This IDE is a platform where deploy contracts, you can test contracts, and on different machines or different chains as well. If you want to test it on testnet or even deploy it on mainnet, you can use Remix for the same. Now, this is a tool for beginners, right? And beginners such as you can definitely use Remix. If somebody is already well versed in Remix, tools like Truffle, Hardhat are recommended, where you can, create migration scripts as well as a detailed tests on running your contracts. So you'll see that there are a lot of folders here: contracts, scripts, tests. So they have some contracts that are pre-generated for you, and you can write some scripts in the script section where you can have some TS files there that will interact and as per your code, as well as you can write some tests as well, right? If we have enough time, we might cater to some tests in this lecture itself, right? So right now, MetaMask is a window or a connection to the blockchain, right? MetaMask has addresses that are supported by the blockchain and the networks that are operated on the blockchain. Now, these are all blockchains. These are test blockchains for sure. You can even add more blockchains to this MetaMask and have your address support more blockchains. We'll do this in a short while with Celo. We'll see how to deploy it on Celo testnet. Now, if you see storage.sol, the first thing that whenever I see this, I see a lot of resemblance to JavaScript or Java for that matter. This looks a lot like classes to me, right? And it has actually always been that way with me. Maybe it has a significance for you guys or not, right? But when you start building it, you'll feel that a lot of properties are even like that. So this is the first line of the contract here, right? So this first line is of license. This is to tell that which license do you want your code to be at. Now, if you want it to be open source, and or else you want some part to be open source, all of these things are covered by this license here. You can, and if you want, you can actually remove this license as well if you want to, and compile it. It will compile, but with some warnings. You'll get to know those warnings as soon as you compile it. Just let me erase it here and compile it for you so that you can see that a warning here will pop up saying that the HPDX license identifier was not provided in the source file, right? As well as it's here as well, right? So Remix is actually quite smart. It will let you know of a lot of errors as soon as you press Control S to compile or save, right? It's the same thing here. Now, second line here, pragma is the keyword to define the Solidity version. Which Solidity version do you want this contract to be compatible with? Now, why is that necessary? Because as we move further, new Solidity versions are popping up because Solidity is being enhanced day by day. And because Solidity is being enhanced day by day, some of the enhancements might cater some bad influence on the code that you've created here. So it's very essential that you fix a Solidity compiler version so that if in case there are some for some future advancements in Solidity, your code or your contract is not affected by it. So now, whenever you create a contract, you started with contract keyword, contract storage. Storage is the name of the contract here. And then U in 256 is basically unsigned integer 256. This number now can have value up to 2 raised to the power of 256 minus 1, which is a huge number, right? So this number, this is what is the significance of U in 256. But at the same time, it is unsigned, so it will always be a positive number, not a negative number. If you want a negative number as well, here you should use signed integers. In that case, it will normally represented by int, right? So this is something that corresponds to the variables that are stored on the blockchain. Now, in this whole contract, obviously the whole code is there on the blockchain, yes, but when you execute functions, then the state changes via these variables, right? So whenever you know, what do I mean by that? So now if you see this function store here, what this store is doing is it's inputting an integer num and changing the value of number to num, right? We'll do a practical example of this soon enough, right, to show you what exactly is happening here. But this is something that is very for some reason it resembles a setter function to me. If you guys know Java, you might know getters and setters, right? So it or Python for that matter, this resembles a lot to me like a setter function, and this a lot to me like a getter function. So this basically is a function that is used to get the value that is stored here, right? There are some additional parameters here in this function. If you see, this is a keyword public, a modifier public that is used here. Now, what does public mean? Public simply means that this contract or my apologies, this function is public. So this could be accessed by anyone internal or external to this contract. So there are more modifiers than public. So there is private, internal, and external. If it is private, this function would be accessible only within this contract. If it is internal, it would be accessible within this contract as well as the contract that inherits it. And if it is external, it would be accessible to anything that is outside this contract. So it could be another contract, or it could be us, calling that function from our front end, right? So this last line is something that has too much weight. You could basically, what you can do is you can use libraries to call this contract from your front end. We'll do something here as well. Let me show it to you guys now. So this window here will show that we have actually compiled it with Solidity compiler 0.8.7, right? So 0.8.7 is something that comes between 0.7.0 and 0.9.0. So this version is important, Solidity version that we are compiling on. And then if you go to this last tab here, right now you'll see that we have a remix virtual machine London selected already. So what we can do is we'll try and execute a contract here. They already have given us an account that has 100 ether in this account, and the gas limit value, we do not need to worry about these variables right now. Gas limit, you can more or less you can keep this fixed, being what it is. Value is something that you'll use when you're using payable modifier. Again, something that should be covered when we're covering something something advanced. Maybe I'll try to cover it in this lecture itself, right? So now let's try and deploy it and see what happens. So you'll see that in this console here, it is successfully deployed. This remix VM is nothing but a virtual machine that is running in our browser itself. Right now, this contract is not deployed on on any blockchain, but deployed in the virtual machine that is run in this browser, right? So, and here you'll be able to see your deployed contracts as well. Right now it is giving me an address here. You can copy this address, right? And there are some buttons here, right? One is store, our store function is here, and one is retrieve. Retrieve is also here. So you'll see that these are color coded as well. Now, the blue color in retrieve is because this function is a view function. And if I execute this function, you'll see that there is no transaction that is taking place, right? There is no tick here. This is a call. And it returns me 0. Retrieve function is currently retrieving the value number here. So it is giving me 0 because by default, if you have not assigned anything to a uint, it's 0, right? So right now it is giving me 0. But at the same time, there is no transaction that is happening on blockchain here. It's a read method. So view methods cannot make changes to the state here. If you try to make a change to the state here, supposedly if you're trying to change the number here to 2, and if you then try to compile this, even Remix will give you an error that the function is declared view, but this expression modifies the state. So it won't be, you won't be able to execute it. So you cannot modify the state here. So this is why this read, these view functions, they cannot modify the state, as well as they are free to call. You won't be charged any transaction fees for view function. So you can just try and call it freely. But at the same time, if you call the store function with variable 10 in it, you'll see that the number value will now be changed to 10 and a transaction is happening here. Right? If you click retrieve, again, there is no transaction, but only a call. So there is no fees involved in retrieve, but a fees involved in store method, because store is not a view method. It's not a view function call. But at the same time, retrieve will give you the value 10 here, because now you have changed the value of this number to 10. So this is a very basic introduction to a contract, how you can actually see a contract, or how you can go ahead and try and make some changes to it. Till this point, is there any question? Okay, can you please repeat? Harshita, can you tell me what exactly do you want me to repeat? Are there any other questions, please? You can go ahead, unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat box too. If there are some questions, I'd love to take them. Harshita, is there any specific section that you want me to repeat? Okay, it is clear. Any other question, guys? Or shall we move further? I think it's pretty simple to understand and even develop too. Is there anybody who's actually following it with me? Who's actually doing it alongside me in the laptops right now? Can I have a yes? Or a no is also good. Okay, so there's one. That is good. All right. Great. All right. For those of you who are not, this video will be available to you guys. But it is recommended that you go through it so that if there are any questions, we can definitely solve it alongside right now. Right. Right. Okay. So let me delete this deployed contract. The next thing that I want you guys to see is chainlist.org. Now this using this website, you could basically add a lot of accounts here, a lot of networks here. If you want to deploy it on some specific chain, you can go ahead, search it here in chain list, and you can add networks here. Now, why do we actually need to add it here? If you see the environment, you could actually use injected provider Metamask to deploy your contract. Let me do this here right now. So it is asking me to connect my address here. And as soon as I'm connected, right now I'm connected with main one network. So this is Ethereum mainnet that I'm connected with. I do not have any Ethereum with me right now, right? So let's see if I can deploy this contract now. You'll see that it suggests that it's 0 ETH here. So if I try and deploy this, you're about to create a transaction on main network, confirm the details, so and so, okay, right, okay, done, confirm, right? So as soon as the MetaMask it pops up, it is giving me a lot of details here now, right? Estimated gas fees, the total amount of Ethereum that will be spent in the gas. So it's roughly about 0.00159 ETH that would be spent in the as the gas fees. But I cannot really confirm because I have insufficient funds. So if you even to deploy a contract, you'll need funds to deploy, right? But as a developer, you don't have to do things on mainnet, right? Mainnets are something that it is of not that interest to us than testnet, because I've spent 90% of my time on testnets, not on mainnet. So because you'll do all your testing, everything on the testnets, right? So let me reject this, and what I'll do is I'll add the Celo network here. You can add the Celo mainnet here if you want, and let me try and do this for you guys. So it is asking me which account do you want to connect chainlist.org with. So I'm using this, and then it is asking me if I want to add it to MetaMask. If you select this, you'll see that there are a lot of details of this network, right? And the network URL is here, chain ID, symbol, everything is here, and you can simply go ahead and add this network to your MetaMask. If you see this here, you'll see Celo mainnet here. Also, if you want, you can go ahead and add this net manually as well. All those network details you'll see that are available on Google itself. Just what you need to do is Celo MetaMask setup, and you can see the Medium article for it, and go ahead. You can do it manually as well if you want to. I personally prefer Chainlist, but I'll also want testnet here. So AlphaZoris testnet is something that is of interest to me, because what we'll do is we'll try and deploy it on AlphaZoris testnet now. Let's see if this is added. AlphaZoris testnet is added. We have our account address here. And right now, this account does not have any Celo coins in it. So to add it, let's go to Celo testnet Faucet. Fund your testnet account with using Celo and paste your testnet address here. For testnets, there is a specific term Faucet. What exactly do faucets mean? They give you test tokens to try and test your contracts on, right? So you can check out faucets of Ethereum, check out faucets of Celo or any other chain that is EVM compatible, or even if they're not EVM compatible, faucets would be available for every blockchain that there is, right? So what you need to do is enter the testnet address here, select I'm not a robot, and send funds to this address. Now, as soon as the transaction is successful, you'll see that, okay, now this transaction is successful, and you'll see that there is some Celo that is credited to your wallet. Now, this is a testnet blockchain. The functions are similar to a mainnet blockchain. It's just that mainnet will have value of this one Celo. Testnet does not have value of this one Celo. the value is only for developers where they are building something. So please make sure that there are a lot of scams ongoing for these testnet coins as well. Please be aware of testnet chains and mainnet chains and have a clear distinction about it. It's really important for you guys to understand this, right? Now, let us try to execute this on Celo testnet. Let me confirm if I have Alpha Joris testnet connected. I am connected to Alpha Joris. This is the chain ID. And you can see that it is still saying that I have one Ether instead. Here I have one Celo, right? This is because just like Metamask was built for Ethereum in the start, Remix is also built for Ethereum, right? You can see that it's still remix or ethereum.org here, but at the same time they have provided support of injecting Metamask and pushing transactions that are Ethereum compatible, and Celo is EVM compatible, which is a very good thing. If you know Solidity, if you are already a Ethereum developer, you can develop things on Celo easily, very easily, because you do not have to do much changes when it comes to deploying on any EVM compatible chain. So we have this contract here, right? Storage.sol, and let's try and deploy this to Alpha Joris now. So you'll see that the MetaMask pops up again, and it is taking some transaction fees again, and which is very low, right? In terms of Celo as well as in terms of dollars, it's very low, right? Let's confirm the transaction. After some time, you'll see that the transaction is successful, and we have the transaction here right now, and there will be some Celo that is deducted from your account too. So this is a transaction that you've done on a blockchain right now, even though it is testnet, right? So if you were following, you did your first step towards becoming a smart contracts a developer, right? And even if you're not, I think this is interesting enough for you as a developer to go ahead, check for possibilities of this concept. Now, a lot of people have done brilliant work in this space. Some people have created decentralized exchanges as well. Think of NSE, BSE, and think of an exchange that is totally decentralized. Nobody's controlling it, and it is running all on smart contracts built by developers like you, right? So this is the first process where you understand what is a contract, how is it deployed, how can you interact with this contract, right? If you see this transaction, okay, so this right now is not the block explorer. This URL is, this is docs.celo.org. You can find relevant URLs here in this doc. Almost everything. You can find the how to get started guides, as well as explorer. If you want to see about some dApps, or you want to see Oracle bridges, these are all some things that definitely could be used eventually. Right now, not the scope of this lecture, but you feel free to go through it. These are quite thorough. We'll go to Explorer, and we'll copy this transaction ID here using this. This is the contract ID, I believe. And let us open this contract here. This address is mentioned here without any tokens. Okay. Right now I am on mainnet, right? So I have to select Alpha Joris and then search, because I was on mainnet before, right? So it won't be visible on mainnet, but on Alpha Joris it will be. So you'll see that this is a contract that has been created. It does not have any Celo tokens. Yes, contract can hold tokens as well. Contracts are more like addresses itself, right? So yes, they can also hold tokens. And this is the transaction that created this contract, right? So let's try and do some more work here. I'll try to keep this lecture for another 5 minutes more, and then try to answer some of the questions that you might have. So if I try and interact with it now, if I try to call retrieve, it's giving me zero. It was a call to this contract, but at the same time, if you notice my MetaMask, it did not pop up, right? But at the same time, if I try to store a value, you'll see that the MetaMask, it pops up and it is asking for the gas fees again, right? So hence our hypothesis that the right functions are all payable and read functions are all free to use. So if you confirm this transaction, it will take some time and the transaction is confirmed now, right? And if you try and call retrieve again, you see the number is 10 now, right? So this is the this is your first go through with what is a contract and what is the buzz all about. When it comes to developing such contracts, it could be as complex as a decentralized exchange. There are a lot of dapps you can find, and you'll find their GitHubs. Like if you go to Celo, you can definitely go to their GitHub and you can search for repositories and search contract. Okay, so there is a contract kit, safe transaction services. There are a lot of things that have been made by developers that could be used, right? And there might be some examples too here. Wallet Connect example, dApp. So there are some of the examples that you can go through, right? And where these examples will actually help you build an application. Now, this is all about deploying a contract. Now, if you see this interaction here, this is something that you can do using your websites as well. So you can create logins using MetaMask and then create an account using MetaMask. At the same time, keep track of it as well as uh, make transactions to it. You can basically do a lot of things when you deploy this contract and then use your front end to interact with it. Now, that is something. Creating a dApp is something else. This is creation of a contract. Creating a dApp is something that uses this contract as well as knowledge of website building to uh, to make a dApp successful, right? So this is all in today's lecture. If someone has any questions, please feel free to ask them. I hope it is clear to everybody. Is there any question, guys? Okay, great. So it is quite basic. I'll urge everybody to, at least go through it once. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop a message. How will it help in a stream? Okay. I believe your stream must be CSE, right? Computer science. And if you're asking me how will it help in your stream, I am, what would I say? Which year are you in? So if you are in computer sciences, this is something that will help you, uh, you know, go through something that is revolutionary right now. If you see the stages that we are in, we right now we have realized that yes, centralization and trustless solutions are something that we need, but in different specialization. Look, if you're a developer, yes, it would be helpful to you. If you are in a different specialization, but at the same time you want to work somewhere in blockchain, I'll suggest, blockchain is a very vast place. You'll definitely have a place in working towards blockchain. If you supposedly, I think it could be possible that you are an artist. There are NFT marketplaces to go to. Celo has them, right? You can go and post your NFTs on blockchains. You can go to OpenSea or Rarible for that matter, and go ahead post your NFTs there. If you're a musician, create an NFT, post it there, right? Or even if you're a data analyst, go to GraphQL, try to understand what exactly is it that they are building, and try to form sense of the data that is being recorded in all these blockchains, right? Which specialization are you in? The question is that, and there is space for everybody in this way, in this field. Any other question, guys? So what we'll do is, okay, you're in first year, so you have a lot of space to go to, and I think if you start things now, and if you really, if the specialization that you're doing, or even if your interests align, so I'll suggest this is a good time to get started here. Uh, Also, for everybody here, please feel free to join the groups that my team will be sharing with you and ask questions there, right? The purpose of this lecture was to get you acquainted on in building smart contracts, as well as if you want, if you want this video, it will be shared with you as well, so that you guys can go through it in your own time and then try building it, right? The purpose is to make sure that you guys have a basic understanding of what contracts are, what is a blockchain, how can you make contracts on a blockchain, right? These are three terms that I've covered in this lecture. Please feel free to go back to it and at your and go to the curriculum at your own pace. Yeah. All right. I think there is, yeah, you can definitely go to our Telegram group. Will be active there, and we'll try to answer all your queries there. It is already in the chat box for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop it there. I think right now we are not having any more questions. Hopefully, I was clear to everybody. Thank you for being a part of this, right? And I hope that I'll see some GitHubs or some of the contracts that are shared by you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me here.